stare at your face like it's a crime. They whisper about your age like time was supposed to break you. But what terrifies them isn't your looks, it's your evolution. Every scar turned into strength. Every year became power. While they stayed trapped in excuses, you kept transforming into something they can't understand. That's why the room changes when you walk in. Your confidence exposes their insecurity. Your glow reminds them of everything they never became. They call it arrogant, because they can't call it greatness. Keep evolving, keep rising, because the most dangerous thing in this world is someone who refuses to stay ordinary. People become uncomfortable when they see someone evolving beyond the limits they secretly accepted for themselves. They can tolerate struggle, weakness, confusion, and failure because those things make them feel safe. But the moment you start changing into something stronger, sharper, and harder to control, their energy shifts. Growth becomes a problem. Suddenly your confidence becomes too much. Suddenly your silence feels intimidating. Not because you harmed anyone, but because your evolution forces people to confront everything they abandoned inside themselves. Most people don't fear monsters, they fear transformation. Because transformation is proof that excuses can be defeated. When they look at you, they see discipline they never built, pain they never survived, and focus they never maintained. That reflection burns them more than any insult ever could. They expected life to exhaust you. They expected rejection to destroy you. They expected time to make you insecure. Instead, every difficult moment became fuel. Every betrayal sharpened your awareness. Every lonely night taught you how to stand without validation. That is what creates jealousy, not beauty, not age, not attention, evolution. There is something deeply unsettling about a person who keeps improving while others remain emotionally trapped in the same cycle year after year. People hate being reminded that growth was always possible. They hate seeing somebody rise without permission, because your existence destroys the comfortable illusion that greatness belongs only to the lucky. You became stronger because you adapted. You became wiser because you suffered. You became dangerous because you stopped needing approval. And once a person stops needing approval, society no longer knows how to control them. That is why some people study your every move. They watch your appearance, your attitude, your words, even your silence. They search for flaws because flaws make them feel equal again. If they can convince themselves that you are fake, arrogant, unstable, or selfish, then they no longer have to face the truth about their own fear. Weak minds always attack what they secretly admire because admiration without action creates self-hatred. The truth is, your evolution didn't happen overnight. Nobody saw the moments where you almost gave up. Nobody saw the mental battles, the isolation, the pressure, the humiliation, or the exhaustion. They only see the result now. They see composure, they see presence, they see power, and they resent the outcome because they ignored the process. People love talking about success, but they hate witnessing transformation in real time. Because real transformation is uncomfortable. It changes your mindset, your habits, your standards, and even the people around you. The version of you that exists today would probably terrify the older version who once begged to fit in. Now you walk differently, you think differently, you protect your energy differently. That growth threatens people who benefited from your insecurity. Some individuals only felt comfortable around you when you doubted yourself. They liked the version of you that needed reassurance, permission, and acceptance. But evolution removes dependency. Evolution creates independence, and independent people become impossible to manipulate. That is why your presence alone creates tension in certain rooms. You no longer carry the desperate energy of someone trying to prove their worth. You already know your value, and confidence without desperation is rare. It unsettles people because it cannot be controlled through opinions, gossip, or rejection. The strongest transformation happens internally before it ever becomes visible externally. Your appearance changed because your mentality changed first. Energy changed because your standards changed. You stopped shrinking yourself to protect fragile egos. You stopped apologizing for ambition. You stopped explaining your vision to people committed to misunderstanding you. That silent shift is what made you powerful. And the frightening part for them is this: you are still evolving. Most people fear getting older because they were taught that time steals value. They were conditioned to believe that youth is power and age is decline. But what they never understood is that age only destroys people who refuse to evolve. For those who adapt, learn, survive, and grow stronger through pain, Age becomes a weapon sharper than anything they possessed in their younger years. There is a different kind of confidence that forms after surviving disappointment, betrayal, humiliation, and failure. It cannot be copied, it cannot be faked. It is built slowly through experience. Younger people often move with emotion, impulse, and the need for approval. But someone who has truly evolved through time moves differently. Their patience becomes dangerous, their silence becomes calculated, their awareness becomes impossible to deceive. That is why people become jealous when they see you aging with power instead of fear. They expected time to weaken you emotionally. They expected stress to destroy your spirit. They expected your energy to fade and your ambition to disappear. But instead of becoming insecure, you became more disciplined. Instead of becoming desperate, you became selective. Instead of chasing validation, you started protecting your peace. That transformation confuses people because they were told aging was supposed to make you less valuable, not more intimidating. The older you become, the more clearly you start seeing people. You recognize fake loyalty faster. You notice manipulation quicker. You stop wasting energy trying to impress crowds that never cared about you in the first place. And once illusions disappear, your focus becomes sharper than ever before. That sharpness is what people feel when they stand near you. You no longer react emotionally to everything. You no longer beg for attention. You no longer collapse because of rejection or criticism. Experience taught you that most opinions come from insecurity, not truth. That realization creates emotional freedom. And emotionally free people are difficult to control. Many people stay mentally trapped in the same age forever. Their bodies grow older, but their mindset never matures. They repeat the same mistakes, same excuses, same toxic habits, and same emotional patterns for years. Then they become uncomfortable watching someone like you transform with every season of life. Your growth reminds them of the potential they wasted. Every scar on your life became wisdom, every setback became strategy. Every painful lesson became protection. While others allowed pain to turn them bitter, you allowed pain to turn you intelligent. That difference changes everything. Because intelligence built through suffering creates a presence that cannot be taught in books. There is something terrifying about a person who has been broken before but refuses to stay broken. Age gave you perspective. It taught you how temporary emotions really are. It taught you how quickly fake people reveal themselves. It taught you that loneliness is better than forced connection. Most importantly, it taught you that your value was never dependent on how loudly the world applauded you. That realization creates real confidence. Not the loud confidence that seeks attention, not the fake confidence built on appearance alone. Real confidence is calm, control, observant. It comes from knowing exactly who you are after life tried multiple times to destroy you. People sense that energy immediately. They may not admit it directly, but they feel the difference between someone pretending to be strong and someone who became strong through survival. Time is exposing the people who never worked on themselves. Their insecurity becomes louder with age because they avoided growth. But your energy becomes stronger because you embraced transformation instead of running from it. Every year added more awareness, more control, more resilience, and more discipline to your character. And the frightening truth for them is this: you are becoming more powerful with time, not less. Confidence has a strange effect on insecure people. Exposes everything they try to hide from the world. The moment someone walks into a room fully aware of their worth, people who secretly doubt themselves begin to feel uncomfortable without even understanding why. It is not arrogance that disturbs them, it is certainty. Because certainty forces insecure minds to confront the instability they carry inside themselves every single day. Most people spend their lives depending on external approval to feel valuable. They need compliments to feel attractive. They need attention to feel important. They need validation to feel secure. Without those things, their confidence collapses instantly. But when they encounter someone who no longer depends on outside opinions for inner peace, they become uneasy. They cannot understand how somebody can remain calm without constantly seeking reassurance. That is the power of true confidence. Real confidence does not scream for attention. It does not beg to be accepted. It does not chase every room, trying to prove superiority. Real confidence is silent control. It is the ability to stand alone without feeling weak. It is the ability to remain focused while others attempt to distract, criticize, or provoke you. And insecure people hate that kind of energy because it reminds them how emotionally dependent they truly are. The moment you stopped doubting yourself, certain people started doubting their own position around you. That is why your growth changed relationships. Some people only felt comfortable when you were uncertain, insecure, and easier to influence. They enjoyed being the stronger personality while you questioned your own value. But confidence changes power dynamics. Once you begin recognizing your worth, manipulation loses its effect. Suddenly, people accuse you of changing. What they really mean is this: you stopped accepting disrespect quietly. Confidence exposes hidden jealousy because insecure individuals constantly compare themselves to others. Every achievement you make becomes a reminder of what they failed to accomplish. Every improvement in your mindset, appearance, discipline, or success becomes evidence of their own lack of progress. Instead of using inspiration to grow, they allow comparison to poison their mentality. That poison eventually turns into envy disguised as criticism. People become deeply uncomfortable when they witness someone becoming what they secretly wish they could be. They may smile in your face, applaud your progress, pretend to support your journey, but inside, something darker begins growing. Because every time they look at you, they are reminded of the discipline they never developed, the courage they never used, and the potential they abandoned long ago. That reminder creates frustration, and frustration eventually transforms into jealousy. Most individuals admire greatness from a distance but resent it when it stands directly in front of them, safe and fictional. But when somebody in real life starts evolving beyond limitations, the energy changes immediately. Suddenly your confidence becomes intimidating, your success becomes luck, your focus becomes obsession. They invent labels because accepting the truth would force them to confront their own excuses. The reality is simple: people hate what they cannot become. Not because you harm them, not because you attack them, but because your existence destroys the comfort, mediocrity they built around themselves. Every improvement you make becomes proof that transformation was possible all along. That truth burns insecure people more than failure itself. Some individuals remain trapped in the same mindset for years, same habits, same emotional weakness. They complain about life endlessly but refuse to change anything about themselves. Then they encounter someone like you, somebody who suffered, adapted, evolved, and kept moving forward despite every obstacle. Your discipline becomes an accusation against their laziness. Your growth becomes a mirror reflecting their stagnation, and most people cannot handle mirrors. That is why jealousy often appears in subtle ways first. They begin downplaying your achievements. They joke about your ambition. They criticize your confidence. They become uncomfortable whenever your name receives praise. Their ego cannot tolerate seeing somebody rise beyond the level where they mentally placed you. What truly frustrates them is that they remember the older version of you, the insecure version, the uncertain version, the version easier to control and easier to underestimate. They built an image of you in their mind years ago, and now your evolution shattered it completely. People hate when reality no longer matches the limitations they assign to you. Some even try to convince themselves that your transformation is fake, because if your growth is real, then they must face the painful truth that they wasted years refusing to evolve themselves. Weak minds would rather attack your success than question their own fear. The dangerous part is that jealousy rarely announces itself openly. It hides behind sarcasm, fake concern, passive criticism, and forced smiles. Some people will clap for you publicly while secretly hoping you fail privately. Others will distance themselves completely because your presence reminds them of their own lack of progress. Your evolution forces people to either grow or become resentful. Many choose resentment because growth requires accountability. You became threatening the moment you stopped shrinking yourself to make insecure people comfortable. The moment you stopped apologizing for your ambition, your standards, your confidence, and your presence, people started seeing you differently. Not because you became arrogant, but because you finally recognized your value without waiting for permission. That realization changes everything. There is a powerful energy around individuals who know exactly who they are becoming. They walk with purpose. They speak with certainty. They stop chasing validation from people who never respected them to begin with. And insecure individuals feel exposed around that type of energy because it highlights their own confusion internally. The truth is, your evolution was never really the problem. The problem is that your transformation proves that greatness requires sacrifice, discipline, self-awareness, and resilience. Qualities many people admire verbally but avoid developing personally. And deep inside, they know if they had your mindset, their entire life could have been different. Every scar tells a story most people will never understand. Some scars are visible on the outside, but the deepest ones exist silently inside the mind. They were created through betrayal, rejection, loneliness, humiliation, disappointment, and survival. Most people assume pain destroys a person completely. Realize is that pain also has the power to transform someone into something far stronger than they were before. Weak people allow suffering to break their identity. Strong people allow suffering to rebuild it. Every difficult experience you survived changed something inside you. The betrayal taught you awareness. The rejection taught you independence. The loneliness taught you self-control. The heartbreak taught you emotional discipline. Each painful moment carved away weakness little by little until a stronger version of yourself finally emerged from the chaos. That is why your scars became power instead of shame. Most individuals spend their lives hiding their damage because they fear being judged. They pretend everything is perfect while secretly collapsing internally. But survival creates a different mentality. Once someone has truly suffered and still found the strength to stand again, fear begins losing control over them. They stop panicking over opinions. They stop chasing acceptance. They stop needing constant reassurance because pain already taught them how temporary everything can be. People often underestimate those who suffered quietly. They see calmness and mistake it for softness. They see silence and mistake it for weakness. But there is a dangerous level of strength hidden inside individuals who rebuilt themselves after being emotionally shattered. Those people understand darkness in ways others never will. They know exactly what it feels like to lose hope and still continue moving forward. That experience changes a person permanently. Some scars came from trusting the wrong people. Some came from fighting battles nobody even noticed. Some came from moments where you smiled publicly while breaking privately. The world only saw the surface, but behind that surface, your mentality was transforming. Every painful lesson forced you to become more aware, more disciplined, more emotionally intelligent, and harder to manipulate. Pain sharpened your instincts. Now you notice fake intentions faster. You recognize disrespect quicker. You stop ignoring red flags just to keep temporary peace. Scars created boundaries where weakness once existed. That is why certain people no longer recognize you emotionally. The version of you they once controlled disappeared the moment survival taught you your worth. Many people become bitter after suffering because they allow pain to poison their spirit. But true evolution happens when pain becomes wisdom instead of hatred. Anybody can become angry, anybody can become destructive, but transforming suffering into strength requires mental discipline few people possess. That discipline is visible in your energy now. There is a calmness in people who survived things they thought would destroy them. Their confidence no longer comes from comfort or validation. It comes from experience. They know what rock bottom feels like, which means fear loses its power over them. Emotional darkness and survived it. Ordinary problems stop feeling intimidating. This is why your scars intimidate certain people without them fully understanding why. Your resilience exposes how fragile many individuals truly are emotionally. While they collapsed over temporary discomfort, you rebuilt yourself after devastation. While they avoided hard truths, you faced them directly. That difference creates an energy impossible to face. Carry scars that turn them into warriors mentally. The difference depends on whether pain was used as an excuse or as fuel for transformation. You chose transformation. You chose growth. You chose evolution even when life gave you every reason to become cold and broken. And now every scar on your soul has become proof that nothing meant to destroy you actually succeeded. There are certain people whose presence changes the atmosphere the moment they enter a room. They do not need to speak loud. They do not need attention. They do not need to announce themselves. Something about their energy naturally shifts the environment around them. People become more alert. Conversations change. Eyes begin watching quietly. That kind of presence cannot be purchased, copied, or faked. It is built through experience, pain, confidence, and self-awareness. Most individuals spend their entire lives trying to fit into rooms, but powerful people change the energy of rooms simply by existing inside them. The difference comes from internal certainty. When someone truly knows who they are, they stop chasing approval from strangers. Their body language changes, their mindset changes, their emotional control changes. People sense that confidence immediately, even if they cannot explain it logically. Human beings are extremely sensitive to energy, especially confidence that does not seek validation. That is why your presence affects people differently now. Some become inspired around you because your energy reminds them of the person they still want to become. Others become uncomfortable because your confidence exposes their insecurity instantly. Strong energy acts like a mirror. It reveals hidden emotions people try desperately to hide from the world. Your evolution changed the way you carry yourself. You no longer enter spaces seeking permission to exist. You no longer reduce your personality to protect fragile egos. You no longer beg for acceptance from people who secretly disrespect themselves internally. That shift created a presence that commands attention naturally without forcing it. People often confuse presence with appearance alone, but true presence goes far deeper than looks. Appearance may attract eyes temporarily, but energy controls how people feel around you emotionally. A person with weak confidence can wear expensive clothes and still feel invisible. Meanwhile, someone with genuine self-belief can walk into a room silently and immediately become unforgettable. Presence is psychological. It is built from self-respect, emotional control, discipline, and life experience. Every battle you survived added weight to your energy. Every betrayal taught you awareness. Every lonely period taught you independence. Every painful lesson forced you to understand yourself more deeply. That accumulated experience now exists in the way you speak, observe, react, and move. People feel it before you even say a word. This is why insecure individuals sometimes react strangely around confident people. Some become defensive immediately. Some try too hard to impress. Some become critical for no reason. Others remain unusually quiet. Your presence unintentionally triggers hidden emotions inside them because confidence highlights emotional weakness automatically. There is something intimidating about calmness in a chaotic world. Most people are emotionally reactive. They panic easily. They seek constant validation. They depend heavily on attention and approval to maintain self-worth. But someone who remains composed without external reassurance creates psychological pressure around insecure minds. That pressure exposes emotional instability. Your silence became powerful because it no longer comes from fear. It comes from control. There was a time when your energy may have felt uncertain. You questioned yourself more. You worried about how others viewed you. You tried fitting into places where your spirit was shrinking slowly. But growth changed that completely. Pain forced self-discovery. Experience forced maturity. Survival forced confidence. And now your presence reflects every lesson life taught you the hard way. The room changes because people recognize transformation subconsciously. They see someone who stopped apologizing for existing, someone who survived enough pain to stop fearing judgment, someone who no longer needs outside validation to feel important. That level of self-awareness creates an aura most individuals never develop because they spend their entire lives pretending instead of evolving. And the most unsettling part for them is this: your presence continues growing stronger every single time life tries to test you.